What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the electric guitar tutorial for You Are Good, the live version by Brewster. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so this song is in the key of C and will be capoed on the 3rd fret. So that means we'll be playing using A shapes. So your first chord comes at the very beginning with your A2 chord, starting on your 2nd fret D string and G string. I'm specifically using my middle and ring fingers because of the next chord that comes in the progression. So your second chord is kind of like an A major 7 chord. Or you can think of it as like an E sus chord, but it's an inversion where your A string is open. So then your last chord in that progression is a D sus chord, resolving to a D major chord. So make sure you pay attention to the picking pattern, and then I'm going to play that whole progression slowly. By the way, I'm going to be playing through the Brewster inspired patch that I created for the Line 6 Helix, HX Stomp, and HX Effects, and Pod Go. So if you're one of those people who have those units, feel free to download those through the link down below. Okay, so now we're in the full band part of the intro, and your first chord is going to be all the way up on the 12th fret with your first finger on the 12th fret E string, and your second finger on the 13th fret B string. So then you're going to add your 4th finger to the 15th fret B string and walk up the notes while keeping your fingers anchored. Then you're going to add your ring finger to the 13th fret E string and then resolve to the 12th fret E string. So I'm going to play that up to that point. So those are all downstrokes for me. Finally, you're going to shift down 2 frets so that your first finger starts on the 10th fret E string. So that last chord has a crucial picking pattern, so make sure you're alternate picking that. So now we're into the second half of that intro, and it's the same lick, only your final chord is different. You're going to resolve with your 4th finger on the 13th fret B string and your first finger on the 10th fret G string. So it's going to be kind of the same picking pattern as this chord. So I'm going to play that slowly. Okay, so now we're in the verse progression, and your first chord is the A2 chord. Then you're going to play your F sharp minor chord, starting with your middle finger on the 2nd fret, low E string, your ring finger on the 2nd fret D string, and pinky on the 2nd fret G string. But feel free to get your open B and E string in there. Your next chord is going to be an E major chord. Your middle finger on the A string 2nd fret, ring finger on the 2nd fret D string, and first finger on the 1st fret G string. And then the rest of the strings are open. Then your last chord is your D2 chord, and it's just like your normal D chord, but with your open high E string. So that picking pattern is important because it's all upstrokes. After that, you start the progression over again, and then I'm going to play it for you right here. Okay, so now we're into the pre-chorus, and we're going to play this entire section with your D major chord in mind. Here's what that looks like. So your first chord is the D chord. And I'm going to reference the frets as if the capo wasn't there. So you're going to slide up the same 2 frets, same shape, 2 frets. So now your ring finger's on the 8th fret B string. Then move that shape up a half step and play using this picking pattern. Then move the same D chord shape up another 2 frets, so where your ring finger is on the 11th fret B string. So I'm going to play that slowly. After that point, we're into the chorus, and this section's pretty straightforward. It's going to be your A2 chord to your E chord, and then to your G major chord. So that's how I play that, is my middle finger on the 3rd fret, low E string, ring finger on the 3rd fret B string, and pinky on the 3rd fret, high E string. So to finish off the progression, you're going to play your D chord, and here's what that sounds like up to that point. So then after that, you're going to play your A2 chord. You're going to start that progression over. Then your E major chord. But this time you're going to play an F major bar chord. So what you're going to do is you're going to bar your first finger on the 1st fret. And then your A string 3rd fret with your ring finger. The D string with your pinky on the 3rd fret. And then your 2nd fret G string with your middle finger. And then finally, you're going to cap off the progression with that G5 chord. So there's a higher guitar part you can play during the chorus, and it sounds like this. So it's going to be a D shape starting on your 12th fret G string, 13th fret B string, and 12th fret E string. Your 2nd chord is your G minor chord. It's your ring finger on the 12th fret G string, middle on the 11th fret B string, and 1st finger on the 10th fret E string. Then you're going to play the same D shape starting on the 10th fret G string. So you're basically just resolving your ring finger down to your 10th fret. So finally, you're going to end that chord progression by playing the 10th fret G string, the 10th fret B string, and 8th fret E string. Here's what that progression sounds like so far. Now your progression starts off the second time with your C chord to your G minor chord, but this is where the chords are different. You're going to play the identical D shape starting on the 8th fret G string, and then shift that shape up to the 10th fret G string. So I want to play that second half. And then you're back into that intro progression. So then after the first chorus, you're back into the intro progression, and then verse 2, then the pre-chorus, and then another chorus. So then after that part, we're going to be into the first jam section, and I'm going to play you the first chord progression. So before I dive into the chords, this entire section now modulated from C major to C minor. So when you're going to solo, think in terms of the minor scale instead of the major scale. So your first chord is going to be the C5 chord starting on the 5th fret or 2nd fret. And so what I'm doing is I'm barring that because I only want to play my A string, my D string, and G string. Makes it a little bit tighter, not. Next, we're going to be working with some bar chords. So your second chord is going to be your first finger starting on the 6th fret, with your ring finger on the 8th fret D string and pinky on the 8th fret G string. And you really only want to play those 3 notes: your A string, your D string, and G string. Then move that shape up to your 8th fret A string. Then Lincoln throws in a lick here. I'll go over those licks a little bit later in the video. So to start the second half of that progression, you're going to play your C5 chord again, then your G5 chord, and then your D over F sharp chord. So your D over F sharp chord is basically your D major chord, only your F sharp note is now on your low E string. So it's an inversion. So it sounds like this. So you're going to play that entire progression again. But the last time, you're going to play another 2 band hits that sound like this. So basically, I'm taking my D over F sharp shape and moving my first finger down to where it's on the 1st fret low E string. And then add a little bit of a rake pick in between. So this launches us into the first solo, which is going to be happening in the secondary position of the C minor scale. So if you break up the guitar neck into 3 positions, your low, your middle, and your high, this would kind of be the second position in my brain. With the pentatonic scale, let's say you're playing in C, your pentatonic scale being low, and then kind of your secondary position, and then a pentatonic scale high up. So if you don't really know what that is, with the pentatonic scale, how to link the neck, feel free to go down below and sign up for my one-on-one online lessons, and I'll walk you through it. So you're going to bend the 18th fret B string a whole step. How I get really under that is I use my 2 fingers, my ring finger and my middle finger. Also, try to get your G string involved in there. Makes it sound really nasty. So here's what that first part sounds like. So a lot of this first solo is more of a feel thing. So it's not going to be 100% the same every time, but your second note is going to be your first finger on the 16th fret B string. Then you're going to go back and forth between the 18th fret and your 16th fret. And then after that, you're going to kind of do a switcheroo and add your middle finger to get underneath that and do a whole step bend. So I'm going to do that first part. So this sets us up for that next set of notes. So you're going to play the 15th fret G string with your first finger, and then the 17th fret G string with your ring finger. And then back to the 15th fret, and then you're going to finish off that phrase with the 15th fret D string with a half step bend and resolving it to the 13th fret. Sounds like this. So I'm going to play that again. Now you're going to bend the 16th fret B string a whole step with your middle finger again, and then resolve to the 17th fret G string with your ring finger. Then it goes 15 to the 17th fret G string, and then 16th fret to the 18th fret B string, and then bend that 18th fret really hard. So it sounds like this. So that last part of the solo drops down to a familiar position on the 16th and 18th fret B string. So then you're going to cap that solo off with the middle finger bend on the 16th fret B string and finish on the 17th fret G string. Then quickly bounce from the 15th fret to the 17th fret G string. Then bend your 16th fret B string to finish off the solo. So then after that, the band drops, and then Lincoln riffs on the chord progression again. And then after that, we go back into the verse. That's like a down verse, and then a pre-chorus, and then the final chorus. So then finally, we arrive at the first ending with a big A chord. Then the band drops, and then Lincoln starts creeping in again with the bridge progression, kind of like this. So then after that, we've made it to the second guitar solo, and the beginning of that sounds like this. So it's a lot of like back and forth type stuff. That first part of the solo starts off really percussive, and you really kind of have to just feel it out. So you're going to be barring the 8th fret, G string and B string. And this is kind of the typical minor pentatonic position. This is where a lot of guitar players find this place home. So you can either bar this next part or play with your like barring one finger. I like to use 2 fingers. So it's basically your 8th fret to your 10th fret, G string and B string. So you're going to play the G and B string on the 10th fret and go back and forth between those 2 parts. So you're going to kind of like get a bend in there with your 10th fret, and then I'm going to play it kind of slowly. So then he breaks into the same lick, but in the single note pattern on the G string, same frets, and then he starts incorporating the D string, 8th and 10th frets. Something like that. So then after that part, we're in the next section, and this lick is going to be almost identical to the lick that's played during the All To You guitar solo on the live version, and it sounds like this. So it's going to be a bend on your B string, 11th fret. And then you're going to bar your 8th fret, B and E string. All downstrokes there. And then it's going to be a big bend on the 11th fret, E string. And then back down and resolve, play the 11th fret, E string. I'm going to play that up to speed. So it's kind of a half bend there. Then you're going to pick your E and B string on the 8th fret. And then it's going to be your 10th fret E string. And then do a hammer-on and pull off from your 8th fret to your 9th fret E string. And then it's going to be your pinky on the 11th fret B string. And then do a subtle bend with your ring finger on the 11th fret G string. Then pick your 8th fret B string. And then pick your 11th fret B string. So you're kind of going to almost, for me, it feels like you're kind of going in circles for a little while before you start descending. So I'm going to play that up to that part. Up there. Now you're going to do a minor blues walk down on the G string. It goes 11, 10, 8. Then to your 10th fret D string, and then bar your 10th fret G string. Then you're going to pick your 8th fret G string. Then you're going to pick your D string 10th fret to the 8th fret. So I'm going to play up to that point. Now you're going to start descending. It's going to go 10th fret D string to your 8th fret, and then 10th, 9th, and 8th, and then 6th on your A string. To finish off that section, Lincoln gets percussive again, starting with a chord on the 8th fret G string and 10th fret B string. Feel free to move your pinky to the 11th fret. And then he finally resolves with the bar chord on the G and B string on the 8th fret. So it's really fast. Like it's like really percussive. You have to really kind of feel it out in the moment. Make sure to get your other fingers involved to really mute all of the strings you don't want to play, otherwise they'll ring out. So then after that, we have another trash can ending. So then there's a cool lick that happens there in the trash can ending, and I'm going to play that for you, or attempt to. Something like that. There's a really fast pull-off starting on the 17th fret G string to the 15th fret G string. Then play your 16th fret B string with your middle finger. I'm using my finger to pluck the B string. It's more of a plucking sound. I'm kind of getting my ring finger to do that. Repeat that as many times as you see fit, and then you're going to descend from the 17th fret and slide to the 15th fret on the D string. And then down to the 13th fret. So it's like a really fast, like flutter picking. So it's kind of the same idea as the... When you slide back up on the D string, you're going to incorporate now your G string on the 15th fret. So I'm going to play that slowly. Something like that. And then sometimes he'll hang out in that area. It's just supposed to be designed to be really fast and just create some sort of energy there. And then he resolves on the 15th fret A string, and then the 13th fret A string, and then there's going to be a big bend on the 13th fret D string. And then you're going to cap that off with the 13th or 15th fret A string. I'm going to play it again. Then there's another lick that I'm not 100% sure how he plays because there's a lot going on in the track. It sounds something like this. So I'm going to teach you kind of the basic general gist of that. So it's going to be a bend on the 10th fret to the 11th fret, and then resolve to your 10th fret, then a pull off to your 8th fret B string, then your 10th fret G string, and then back to your 10th fret B string, down to your 8th fret B string, and then now you're on your G string. It's going to be kind of the same feel as your... So that's going to be a walk up before you do your blues walk down. So G string, 8th, 10th, 11th, and then 8th fret B string. And then you're going to walk it down. G string, 11th, 10th, 8th, Same thing as kind of in that solo. So it's going to be just kind of a normal walk down. D string, 10-8, 10-8. It's going to be a slide there on your A string to your 6th fret A string, then a slide up, and then play your 8th fret D string. Now you're going to be on your low E string, 8th fret, and then 6th fret, and you're going to do a hammer-on pull-off. So I'm going to play it kind of up to speed. Something like that. And then the last chord he plays as the track is fading out, he goes. So that's going to be 10th fret, D string. And then your pinky and ring finger on the B string on the 11th fret. So it's a down up and then slide out. So I'm going to go over a couple licks that Lincoln likes to throw in there, definitely during the verse sections with the. So that first one is. So it's kind of the same idea that I went over earlier with your 10th fret B string and 8th fret G string. So it's a down up, up, and then you're going to add your pinky to the 11th fret B string. And then you're going to resolve barring the G string, B string on the 8th fret. So in context. Back to your progression. So that's kind of a pretty basic lick. You can either do a or slide it. So it's up to the 12th fret note on the G string. So it's slide down to the 10th fret, 8th fret G string, back to the 8th fret, capping it off with your 10th fret D string. So there's another specific lick I want to go over. It sounds like this. So in context. So that lick starts on the, how I'm playing it, on the 11th fret B string. And then it's a pull off to the 8th fret B string. 11th fret G string. Slide. Actually, I picked that part. 10th fret G string to the 8th fret G string. Bar that 10th fret with your ring finger, and you're going to play your D string and G string. To the 8th fret G string. Then you're going to pull off D string 10th to 8th. This is where you do your blues walk down. A string 10th, 9th, 8th. Then a slide to your 6th fret. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, feel free to please hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.